What's going on, guys? It's John DeYoung here, and today I want to talk to you about the difference between assets and liabilities, what an appreciating asset is and what a depreciating asset is, and how you can buy appreciating assets now to help you afford liabilities in the future. We all spend our finances in one way or another, and today I'm not really concerned about your morning coffees or your weekly date nights or the occasional getaway. Sometimes these things are just a part of life. What I do want to confront is the big ticket items we can consider as liabilities. Liabilities can be defined as the state of being legally responsible for something that has continuous outgoings over time. This can include things like mortgages, car loans, credit cards, personal finance, basically anything that is continuously costing you money. Majority of these liabilities are the consequences for us buying assets. However, if we were to buy appreciating assets, we can actually make our money work for us, rather than us work for our money by paying off liabilities. Assets can be defined as a useful or valuable thing. This includes things like bonds, land, property, shares, cars, anything that has a value of wealth. So you're now out into the big bad world, you find a half decent paying job and you've got some money to spend. I want to walk you through how buying a car now, which is a depreciating asset, over an investment property, which is an appreciating asset, can significantly change your financial position in the next 5 to 10 years. Firstly, let's go over purchasing a nice car. You've worked so hard and you've saved $25,000 and it's finally time to reward yourself. The brand new model of your favorite car has just been released and it's been advertised for $45,000. So you head down to your local car dealership, you put your $25,000 down as a deposit and you borrow the remaining $20,000 on a car loan. Congratulations, you can take a photo next to it and post it on Instagram. You can take all your friends and family for a drive. You know, you're gonna wash it every weekend because it's your baby. It's gonna be your baby for the next 6 months. Until after all the excitement has died down, you've nicked the rims a couple of times, you're still trying to get the coffee stain off the front seat from last Monday. It's now just become another car, getting you from A to B. In the meantime, it's cost you an absolute fortune. It's a good rule of thumb to presume that any brand new car that you buy is going to lose 20% in its first year, and then 15% every year after that, until after 10 years, it's only going to be worth 10% of the original price that you bought it for. So for just those initial 6 months of feel goods of buying a brand new car, after 5 years, your car's now only going to be worth $19,000. And because you borrowed that $20,000 on a car loan, let's say you borrowed it at 8.5% over 5 years, it's also going to cost you $4,600 just in interest repayments, costing you a total of $30,600 over 5 years. And what's even more scary is over 10 years, it's actually going to cost you more than the total original value of the car. It's going to be costing you about $45,100 over a 10-year period. Let's compare investing the same $25,000 initial deposit into an investment property over the same 10-year period. If you're a first homeowner, you can utilize the New Morrison government's first homeowner scheme that's being released in January 2020 to utilize that $25,000 as a 5% deposit on a $500,000 house. If you want to learn more about this, I've talked about it in my previous videos. For good measure, instead of borrowing at your maximum capacity, let's say you bought a property for $460,000. Up front, you're going to have your stamp duty costs, which is going to be about $24,000. And then the additional bank and legal fees is going to be around $3,000. So all up front, it's going to cost you about $27,000 to buy you a $460,000 asset. There's two main financial benefits from buying an investment property. The first one is the rental returns from having a tenant in your house, renting the house out and paying you for it. The second one is something that we call capital growth, and it's basically just the growth in value on your property over time. When you have a high rental yield, which is basically just a high amount of income against the value of your property, hopefully you can positively gear your investment property. An example of this is, say you're renting it out for $19.20 per month and your outgoings was $1,800 a month. The difference of $120 means it's just getting $120 of passive income into your back pocket, just from owning the property and renting it out to a tenant. The second financial benefit is capital growth, which, as I explained before, is just the value of your property increasing over time. On average in Australia, over the last 25 years, houses have increased by 6.8% and units have increased by 5.9% annually. So let's say you've gone out and bought your property at $460,000 in a nice area that's got that good history of annual growth at 6.8%. In your first year alone, the value of your property should have increased to $491,000. So not including any of the initial purchasing or any selling costs, this means you've made $31,000 in just 1 year. The best part of this is that you've leveraged someone else's money to do it. So you've taken your $25,000, you've leveraged or borrowed someone else's money, and you've turned it into $56,000. That's 125% return in just 1 year on average growth. However, factoring in those initial purchasing costs of $27,000 and any selling costs, which are going to be around $15,000 to $20,000, depending on your capital gain and what agent you go for and what rate they apply, that $31,000 of profit just gets eaten up really quickly. So the property investment game, you're going to have to be in it for a long haul. It's about sitting on that property for a long period of time, accumulating that capital growth over time, and then reaping the profits over 5 to 10 years. After 5 years of average growth, your property should be worth something around $640,000, giving you a profit of $180,000. And even better still, after 10 years, your property is going to be worth something like $880,000, giving you a whopping profit of $428,000 over 10 years of average growth. This is all just presuming that you've had neutral cash flow from renting out your property, meaning you haven't had to put anything more towards your investment property or you haven't got anything else back. This profit is purely just based on the average capital growth over 10 years. So I'll leave it completely up to you. You can look good now in a brand new car, but it's going to cost you $45,100 over 10 years. Or you can invest in property and have $428,000 worth of equity in an asset that's just going to continue to appreciate in value. As always, seek your own financial advice for your current situation. This is just my opinion and shouldn't be considered financial advice. If you want more content like this, hit the subscribe button and the notification button, and until next time, happy house hunting.